everyone. I'm back from China. It has been about 2.5, 3 weeks since I've been back. I really enjoyed my stay there, my time there. It was very unforgettable, and I definitely am so excited to share my experiences, the things I did, the things that I saw, just everything. It was something like I can never forget because everything that happened, it happened perfectly. Like, I don't know. It was just awesome. But okay, so I'm gonna get started, and it might be a long video, just to give you a heads up. Okay. So, first of all, it was a 14-hour plane ride. 14 hours. Like, I can barely sit still for like 5 minutes. But sitting on a plane for 14 hours, that was not fun. I had a window seat, and I definitely recommend if you are on a plane for that long of a period, do not get a window seat because you just don't want to do it. So we get to China, and we meet our translator, Viola. She's really nice, really sweet. I got to know her. I honestly could see her being like a big sister to me because she was just so chill, and I don't know, I loved her. So we got to Beijing and checked in our hotel around like 3 o'clock, and we had the rest of the day to just relax, catch up from jet lag, just tour. So Viola told us about this street. I think it's called the Wang Fu Jiang Street. It's some really popular street in Beijing. So my dad and I, we walked the street up and down to see what's going on. There's a lot of police. Like, they have a lot of police just like stationed on the street because where we're staying, it was like 5 blocks away from where like the president lives. So it's like DC. Like, he wants his place clean and safe for the people. So there were police everywhere with machine guns. Kind of intimidating, but it's whatever. So the next day, we ended up going to the Temple of Heaven, which is something I've always wanted to do. It was beautiful. It was just jaw-dropping. Everything there was hand-painted. I don't know. It was just like a dream that you didn't believe was happening, I would say. But we spent a couple hours there, and then we ended up going to eat dinner later that night. And we went to this thing called the Peking duck dinner. So we ate duck, which isn't too bad, but the fact that my dad and I saw like the chef slicing the duck in front of us, I wasn't too fond of it, but I mean, it's like their culture, like it's very big in Beijing to eat duck, so it's how they do it. So I wasn't really like trying to make it obvious I was freaked out, but I was freaked out by far. Then the next day we went to the Forbidden City and the Summer Palace. So the Forbidden City, it was only meant for the emperor. So anything with a yellow like roof on it, it means like for the emperor only. And the emperor ended up having one wife and like 3,000 concubines, which is crazy. But the Forbidden City is just huge. It is huge. Like, I'm surprised the country of China as a whole didn't like gang up on this emperor because he had so much space for one person. But it was really nice. It was, like I said, it was huge. I was exhausted by the end of walking it all. But they did animal sacrifices there. They held a lot of ceremonies. It was cool. There was a lot of people that were touring it. So it was kind of just like, oh my gosh, all these people. Then afterwards, we went to go visit the Summer Palace, and that's basically like a lake. Because like there's like this building on top of a mountain, and technically we were supposed to go to it, but it like got burned down, and like they're starting to rebuild it or something, and like they don't let anyone near. So we didn't go to that, but we like went to the other side, which is like has a bridge and like more buildings and like temples, and we saw that. But basically everything in Beijing is like the same. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but if you see if you've seen one building, you've seen them all, to be honest. And at the end of each roof, so there will be like one animal on the roof, and then smaller ones, and then the more smaller, the more like powerful, I guess, the person is. So, and like the beginning, there may be 3 little small animals on the roof, and then when you get to the next building, there may be 5. The next there may be 7, and then 9. Because they only go by odds; they don't go by even numbers. So if there's like the more, that means the more powerful and the more harder it is to get in, because you have to get past these like gods, which are the animals, to get in, and it protects the person, like the emperor, from like negative things or bad people or all this stuff. And then the next day we ended up going to the Ming Dynasty tombs, which is where the emperor the Ming Dynasty was laid to rest. But in this tomb, no one knows where the emperors are buried. So they had people bring in the emperors when they died, but the people that brought in the emperors had to die in there too. Like, they couldn't get out. So no one knows where these emperors are buried. And that's kind of like, that kind of freaked me out, because I was like, I don't want to be stepping on their grave. I don't know. It was just kind of like eerie feeling there. But it was really nice. A lot of the monuments and artifacts weren't there because they were transported into a museum a couple months before we went. So we were a little late, but it's fine. And then after the Ming Dynasty, we went to the Great Wall of China. And everyone knows the Great Wall of China is one of the seven wonders of the world. So that was really fun. I've always wanted to go there. It's huge. It's fantastic. I recommend going if anyone has ever wanted to or plan a trip on going to China. You have to see it. I can definitely say it whooped my butt. I walked 2 towers by myself, and then I walked 1 with my dad. So I walked 3 in total. But I didn't realize when I was walking to the 2 towers, I was going downhill. Totally forgot I had to go back uphill. So I was exhausted and dying for thirst. And it was bad. So that happened. And then the next day we went to this neighborhood. It's called the Wantong neighborhood, I think. And we traveled by rickshaw. And for those people that don't know what a rickshaw is, I would recommend looking it up. But we traveled by rickshaw through this neighborhood, and we ended up making dumplings at these people's house. It was really nice. Definitely can say our dumplings weren't as good as the people that made it for us at first, just because everyone knows majority of things you eat are better if other people cook it. But it was fun, and our rickshaw guy, so my dad and I were like the only Americans that we like noticed there. So all the rickshaw drivers, they would pass us and they would be like, hello and ni hao and all this stuff. It was so cute. But so my dad's on the heavier side, and every single time there was like an uphill or something, our driver would like pedal, and he was struggling. So all the other drivers, like, they would make I didn't know what they were saying, but they would make side comments about like how he's struggling. Like, you can just tell. And it was just funny, because I was like, poor guy, like, he didn't know what he was getting himself into today. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I definitely would go back to that neighborhood. It was really fun. The vibe was really nice. It was a very, very old neighborhood. I'm not sure if they said it was like 2,000 years old or something, but it was really old. But everything there was just beautiful. The lake, it was awesome. So after that, after we got done with that day in Beijing, we then took a flight to Xi'an, which is, so like this is Beijing. Xi'an is like farther like southwest. So we took a flight to Xi'an. We met our translator named Eric, who I love. He is awesome. We ended up going to the Terracotta Warriors the next day and the Wild Goose Pagoda. And the Wild Goose Pagoda is basically where like the Buddhists like pray. And it was really cool. It was something I've never seen before, and I never would have known if I didn't do my research before my trip, because I planned this trip out myself, and I was just like, you know what, why not? It sounds interesting, and it definitely was worth it because it was something, like I said, I've never seen before, and it was just cool to get to see the these monument, like the statue of like the Buddha and the pagoda in the background, and the people who just love like their culture and their history. It was awesome. And Xi'an in general is like a Charlotte, but Charlotte will end up being like Xi'an, I would say, in the next 10 to 15 years, because it is huge. Like, it's growing, it's modern, it's really clean, it's really nice. After the pagoda, we ended up going to the Terracotta Warriors, which I will never forget learning in Mr. Westney's class my sophomore year in high school. I was just amazed at this. I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to go here. This sounds so cool. I have no idea what it is. I'm probably gonna get freaked out if I saw it in person. Yeah. It was fun. It was awesome. But I did get kind of freaked out. Because when Eric was telling us about like the history, they found the Terracotta Warriors in 1974 by this farmer who was like digging in like his yard. He was like, I think he was like trying to dig a well or something, and he just ran across this army head, and next thing you know, it turned into this big, huge like history thing, and that's awesome. But I would have freaked out. But to come up digging, you see a head, like it's a statue, of course, but finding like more and more, no. That's crazy. It was fun. So we learned that the more buns that the Warriors had, it meant the more power. And so there's 3 rows in the front, and those are like the dummies, I guess. Not the dummies, but they don't have any armor on. So if they get shot or like arrowed, whatever, it's fine, because the more important people are like in the back and they're in the front. And then there's like one row on the outside of the entire army facing outward. Yeah, facing outward. And it's just like to protect the army as a whole. Everything has a meaning. Every symbol, anything has a meaning in China. So that's pretty cool. And then after that, we ended up going to a dumpling banquet where we tried all these different types of dumplings. There were fish dumplings, cabbage dumplings, some kind of spicy dumplings. It was really good. There were like 3-4 more, and they were really, really good. But we met some people from Belgium there. They were pretty nice. We talked about like the culture, and it's just really nice traveling because you get to meet so many different people from like all over the world. We met a lot of people from Australia. We met the people from Dublin. We met some like women from Maryland. I was like, how did we end up getting matched together? But there were so many people. It was awesome. So after that, we went back to the hotel, and then the next day we woke up early and we went to the Washan Mountain, which is what I was so excited about. And everyone that personally knows me knows I love to do wild, adventurous stuff, and I will risk my life to do stuff like this. I don't know why, but I will. And my dad, Eric, and I, we hiked the mountain a little bit. My dad had to stop, and Eric and I, like, we went on for like another hour. Goodness, there were so many stairs and people, but there was this one flight of stairs. It felt like it was 90 degrees. Eric and I were dying. It was so hard to hike, but it was so fun. But while we were hiking, he started playing like Miley Cyrus, Luke Bryan. It was, I don't know, it was fun. He made it really fun. It was like we got to know each other more. I asked him more about like the culture and all this stuff. But I'll never forget my time in Xi'an because it was just so fun. So after that, we ended up going to Chengdu, and we took a bullet train from Xi'an to Chengdu. But I wasn't, like, I was fine. Everything was like going good. And then my dad didn't feel too good. And I didn't think anything of it. Like, maybe he's just like tired because like we haven't been getting like good sleep. So we took the bullet train to Chengdu. We met our translator Emily and our driver Jerry. He took us to the hotel. We had like 2 hours to just relax and chill. My dad told me he was like, go and take a nap and hopefully he'll feel better afterwards. So 2 hours went by. He took a nap, and he woke up and he told me how his arm was like going numb and it was kind of hurting, and how like it felt like someone was like pounding him in the chest. I was very confused. I was like, that doesn't sound healthy nor good. So I texted my translator and I was like, hey, we may need to take my dad to the hospital. This doesn't sound very good. So we ended up going to the hospital, and he got like his vitals taken, all this stuff. His blood pressure was like 170 something over 55. I was very shocked and very concerned because he didn't seem like he was like in pain or anything was like wrong. He just said he just didn't feel good. So they ended up taking him back to do I think it's called an EKG or ECG, something like to test your heart. And next thing you know, the doctor comes back and says, okay, we need to have surgery on your dad right now, or you can wait, but if you do it now, that's probably safer because it's very fatal if you don't do it. And I was like, pause, what's going on? And he said that my dad had a sudden heart attack. They don't know when, but he had it and they need to fix it right now. So granted, it's 4 p.m. in China. So that means it's 4 a.m. at home. So no one's awake. And I was just confused about like, what? Like, my dad's having a heart attack right now? Like, we're in China, like, we're on vacation. There's no way. Like, this is, like, how? Like, no, like, he was perfectly fine this entire trip. Like, how? So I called my mom over and over again. She didn't answer. And then I ended up just telling the doctors, you know what? Do it. Put a stent in. I'll contact my mom later on. So I kept on calling my mom, and then she finally answered, and I was like, Mom, Dad's having a heart attack. And she was, you could tell she was very, like, scared. And she asked me if I was okay. I said, yeah, I'm fine. Just, like, stay on the phone with me, like, just stay awake so I can, like, keep you updated on what's going on. And it was just really scary overall because my aunt, his sister died a month before our trip due to a heart attack. And then his brother had a heart attack 5 years ago. And then both of his parents, while we were in China, while all this was going on, they went to the hospital for their heart. So I had a lot of stuff going through my head at this point. But he came out of surgery. He was perfectly fine. We were cracking jokes like normal. You could tell he felt a lot better. His coloring was good. I was happy. But they were like, he needs to stay in the hospital for 3 or 4 more days. And I was just like, I don't want to, like, that's good. Like, I want him to stay in there, but I don't want to really stay in my hotel room for 3 or 4 days of my trip I paid for to do all this stuff and I can't do. So my mom ended up calling our itinerary person, and she was like, oh, Emily, take Zoe to the Panda Preservation Center. So Emily took me to the center, saw pandas, my favorite animal. They were so cute. They were so fun. And then we ended up going to eat a shundu like dinner, and it was pig snout, duck tongue, duck stomach, cow tongue, cow stomach, duck blood. It sounds really gross, but it actually was pretty good, not gonna lie. I like trying different stuff, especially stuff like it's very exotic, and I probably, like, we want to eat it here most likely, like the way they do there. Like, they eat it like how we eat, like, hamburgers. Like, they eat it like it's normal, like an everyday meal. So I was like, you know what, why not? I'm in China, let's go, let's do it. So I tried all this different stuff, and then later on, we were trying to decide if we were, so this is like the next day, we were trying to decide if we were going to go to my orphanage, because that was the entire point of the trip, was to go to my orphanage. And my translator was like, no, we can't go, like, we have to stay here with your dad, we're only supposed to be an hour away if we travel, because if something happens, we have to be here. And I was very, very upset, because I didn't want to miss this opportunity, because, like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So we ended up, after a big argument between her and the person that was in charge of my trip, because she knew I was very upset if we didn't go. So we ended up going later on that day, 3-hour drive to Yibin, which is where the orphanage is, and I was amazed. Yibin is beautiful. When my parents adopted me back in '99, they could only travel to Chengdu. They couldn't travel to Yibin. They wouldn't allow any parents to go to the orphanage. So I was like the only one that was like in my family like now that has seen the orphanage. So I felt really like happy that they actually let me come back to visit the orphanage. And I don't know, just I was really happy with just everything in Yibin. So we visited the orphanage, and I met the old director, who was my director when I was in the orphanage. I met the new director, and then I met the woman who was in charge of my paperwork, who still works there. And then I met one of my nannies, who still works there, and she told me how she remembered me because I have big eyes, and it's like that's not really common for Chinese babies to have big eyes. So she remembered me. We went through my file. They gave me a little gift from the children that just basically like said how I'm one of them, how like this is my home, how I'm always welcome back, how I'm always going to be like their daughter, which was really nice. I was really shocked actually to get a gift. I didn't expect that, but we went through my file, and I saw like paperwork I've seen before because my parents, and I saw some I have never seen before, And on the paper was a little like newsletter article, and it said like, I was like the fourth one on it, and it said a little girl was found in Naishi in front of the police department on this day, found by this man. You have like so and so to claim her. If not, she'll be put up for adoption or taken to the orphanage. And of course, no one claimed me, so I ended up being taken to the orphanage. And that's where I lived 10 months of my life. But I can definitely say they really do care for their children at the orphanage, and they really they try to build like a relationship with the kids, which made me feel really good. Because I know I was taken care of very, very well when I was there for 10 months. So I was happy to know that. And then after we said our goodbyes to the orphanage director and the orphanage and all those people, we ended up going to Naishi, which is where I'm actually originally from. And we visited the people who found me abandoned. So that was different. I wasn't sure how to feel about it, honestly. Because I was told I was left with a birth note. And when I asked them about it, they said that they don't have it. So my thing is, I'm not sure if it was a lie or not, but I was told I was left with a birth note, so I was expecting to see a birth note, which was really hard for me to accept the fact that I wasn't going to see it. But later on, we went to go visit my finding spot where I was found abandoned, and the alleyway is called the Peace Alley, and I was found right in front of the police department, and the man's wife came and she basically held my hand and showed me. She's like, this is where you were, this is where we found you, this is where your mother put you. And I was just like, how do I react to this? This, it's amazing, it's beautiful. I'm glad that she put me here somewhere where it was popular and I was gonna be easy to find. But then yet again, it hit me this was the last spot I was with my birth mother. I wasn't sure how to feel. I was happy, but I was sad. But the orphanage director and my finding people both reassured me that my birth mother really did love me and she wanted the best for me, because she put me in a very popular location, especially in the front of a police department. And I don't know, I felt blessed, but I was upset, of course. The man's wife told me that I was around 20 days old when they found me. They said most likely I was left at night. It was rainy. It was a rainy night. And I was found by a street worker the next morning, who then contacted the police at the police department, who then contacted the man, who then contacted his wife, and she took care of me for a few days. But they said when I was found the next day, people surrounded me, but they didn't want to touch me. They didn't want to pick me up because they didn't technically know what to do. They weren't sure whose baby it was, what to do with it, or anything. So I was very lucky to have been found by the people that found me and taken care of the way they took care of me. After that, they took me, this was for our visit, they took me to a Sichuan lunch, and that was really nice. It was everything in Sichuan, Chengdu, Sichuan. It's basically all the same, it's just different names. But they took me to lunch, and everything in Sichuan is very spicy. And that adds up because all my life I've grown up loving spicy foods. And I didn't know why. And my mom was like, you should be a Mexican. You're not even Chinese. You like spicy foods too much, blah, blah, blah. And Emily, our translator, told me, she was like, actually in Sichuan, they're known for their food, and it's called like the Chinese Mexican food. And I was like, that makes sense. But in Naixi, all these people, I looked like these people. Like, everyone says, like, Asians look the same. No, we don't. I can promise you we don't. These people, like, the Naixi people, they had big eyes. They were, like, my height. Most people in China are really small. Like, height-wise and, like, just body overall. But, like, they had big eyes. They had, like, the round face, the features, similar to me. And it felt so cool to have that connection with someone for once. Like, I've never, ever interacted with someone or been somewhere where I actually look like people who have the same, like, features as me. And like, growing up, seeing like people my age looking like their parents and looking like the grandparents and all this stuff, I've always wanted that. But going to Naixi and, like, although I don't genetically, like, look like them in the face, we have the same features. And that was enough for me. And I was just so happy and so excited to finally experience that and have that connection I've always wanted. I really enjoyed my time in Naixi and Yibin. It was definitely amazing. So after that, we ended up going back to Chengdu to save. So when my dad was in the hospital, I called it jail, like hospital jail, just because he wanted to get out of there, but he couldn't get out without money. So, like, he has to, like, pay his bond, basically, to get out. So we ended up going back to Chengdu to get my dad out of hospital jail. And the next day, we took a flight to Shanghai, spent the night in Shanghai, went shopping, and then headed back home. And it was a very fast trip. We were supposed to stay in Shanghai for 4 or 5 more days, but with my dad's health and everything going on, I wanted to be home. I wanted my dad to be home. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to be home. Like, there's no way around it. But it was awesome. I will not forget this trip whatsoever. It was just, everything about it was hectic. There was so much stuff going on. So one of the things that I was told about, and I wasn't sure if they would have it, is the hole in the ground. So when, like, they use the bathroom, there's a hole in the ground. I thought people were, like, joking about it. No, there's not. So at the Forbidden City, I had to go to the bathroom, and I was like there were, like, stalls and stuff. So I went to open the door, and I was, like, expecting to see a toilet. I looked down, and there's just a hole. And I was like, I don't know how to use this. So I was very confused on how to use it, and I ended up calling it the squat pot, because you have to squat, and it's like a pot, so you get that. So that happened. You would be surprised on how fascinated they are with, like, non-Asian people. So my dad has, like, dirty blonde-ish hair. He has, like, dirty blondish hair with, like, blue eyes. and everyone was like wanted to take a picture with him. Like, they were just amazed. And I was like, why? Like, I don't get it. But like, everyone there has like brown hair, brown eyes, so they're just like amazed at how he's just like, you would have thought he was like a famous celebrity, and I was like, he's just Scott. Like, like there's nothing special about it. And then the third thing that I really enjoyed was that they can eat. They can eat. Good Lord. Every single meal we had, they had like, so every single place we ate with our translator, they ended up ordering like 5-6 like dishes. And it's like usually endless dishes. So like normal sized plates, and they just like stack them high. And I'm like, no, like I gotta stop eating. And they're like they start giving me more and more. And I was like, y'all are trying to make me fat. Like, I'm not trying to get fat over here. But I love the culture over there. People have asked me, do I plan on going back? I definitely do plan on going back. I want to go back within the next 10 years. I definitely would want to go back to Chengdu, Yibin, Naishi, all that. But I would like to explore Xi'an a little more, just because I liked it. Like, I liked the vibe that everyone gave. It was just fun. But I'm so excited to go back. I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to have gone to China last month when I had the opportunity to, and I am just glad with the things I learned about myself, like the puzzle pieces of like my features, my taste palette, like the way I do stuff. It all adds up, because seeing those like the Naishi people do stuff, I'm like, oh, I do that too. Like, maybe that's where I got it from. Like, I don't know, it was just really nice. But I do plan on going back. Although I didn't get all the answers that I wanted to about my birth parents, which I didn't actually find anything, which is kind of upsetting. I do want to go back, and I want to explore more and hopefully find them, because the entire trip in Naishi, when I was there, all I could think about was, is that my birth mother? Or is that my birth mother? Does she know I'm here? Like, will she even recognize me? Does she know I'm alive? Does she think about me? Does she come back here like every year to see if I'm here, or every day? It was just scary. It was a scary, scary feeling. But I'm willing to take on the risk to find them. I really am. But yeah, so overall trip went well. My dad's fine. He had surgery this past Friday, so he's doing much better. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the future holds, and I'm gonna put it in God's hands. So thank you for watching, and check out my photo video, if that makes sense, of like the pictures and videos I took of China. And if you have any like questions or anything, feel free to like find me on social media and like ask me them. I'm more than welcome to like answer them for you. But yeah, so thank you for watching.